you how to do prop actions in Blender and use IMVU Studio to submit your prop actions to your shop. And then we're going to introduce some of our latest IMVU Studio features. And last but not least, after the demos, we'll answer your questions via our Q&A feature. So please use the Q&A feature to ask your questions, and remember to keep your questions on topic and GA friendly. And if you haven't downloaded the latest IMVU Studio product, I will put a little link in chat so you can download it. And you can also download the IMVU Studio toolkits we're going to be talking about, and I'll give you a link in chat as well for those. And we are going to be recording this session so that creators who were unable to attend the live session can view it later. We just want to make sure you're aware of that. Now let's do our introductions. Mighty Seven and Drosselmeyer are our technical artists. Great to have you here.
Great to be here. Thank you all.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and Tauntaun Tonic is our product director for the creator team. Glad to have you back, Tauntaun. I know Tauntaun's very happy to be back too. And we also
Sorry, I was muted. That darn mute button.
Darn mute button.
Yeah, great to be here, everybody. I can't wait to show everyone some existing and new features that we got on IMVU Studio.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them too. And we have creator Miyaka's Creations here as a special guest. Great to have you here, Miyaka. We are very happy to have you. Now let's get started. I think Mighty Seven is going to take us through the IMVU Studio Toolkit for Blender and prop actions.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll start sharing. Okay, so I'll start by just showing what we are going to be making. And it'll be a prop action where there's a platform and another part of the furniture object, and if you go into the seat, it will move along with you. This is a more advanced usage of the toolkit, so I suggest getting to know how to make furniture products and how to make animations before getting into this. But now we can open up Blender. And from an empty scene, we can go over to the toolkit, create furniture. And then on top of that, we can also go to the animation tool and add the animation avatar. So let's get rid of this reference cube. And I will start by just making the meshes that we need. So we'll have a platform. This will be platform, and I will make a cylinder. There we go. I'll name this bar. And then we also need a armature for the bar. So to animate any pieces of furniture, they need their own armature. So I will add some faces there so that I can add an armature. I'll name this bar armature. And then I can snap it to this vertex. Go. And now if you're using the Blender default controls, you'll be using F3 here. So you'll want to grab your mesh and then the armature, hit F3, or I use tab because I use the industry compatible key set. And then we'll want parent with automatic weights. So now if I grab the armature in pose mode, then the cylinder will move around. So now we can add, let's put these in the right place. So if you open up the furniture export group, you can grab these and drag them into there. And then we'll want to put them underneath root here. So you have to hold shift and drag and put them under root. So now these are both inside the furniture and will be seen by Studio. Now let's add a custom seat. I'll name it step. And I'll move that seat right on top of this. There we go. And then we don't need the catcher and pitcher for this. And I'm going to place the handle over by our cylinder. Like that. All right, now we're ready to animate. And actually the bar didn't follow the armature into here. So we can bring that into furniture export and make sure that it is inside of that group. So let's make the avatar's action first. So with the controls selected in object mode, everything should be orange. We can use the snap to vertex to bring it to the seat node here. Here we go. And now we want to go into pose mode. And let's create a new action. And I'll name it step. So I'll just quickly make the action here. If you know how to animate, it should be easy enough to follow along. And yeah, so all I'm doing is pressing S to make keyframes because that's the control for industry compatible. But if you do pose, animation, insert keyframe, and then do location and rotation, that's the same method that I'm doing. So we can make our frame here, there.
Cameron, it's not Halloween anymore.
It's always Halloween. Okay,
I know,
I'll
I
show.
was
Really
like
scary.
that.
There you go. No more Halloween. Here. And that's good enough for demonstration. So that will be our step action. Now if we go back into object mode, grab the armature, the bar armature, and then go back into pose mode. We can grab this bone and let's do bar idle. So for the idle, in order for any animation to be exported, it needs some movement. Just the way that Blender, if it sees no movement, it'll assume no animation. So I will add a frame at just 1 in 10. So anything in here is the same. And then at frame 0, I'll do some movement. And then we'll just ignore frame 0. So now we have the idle. And now we can hit the new action button. And I'll do bar step. We won't need this frame. Now we can bring this about in the hand, the frame there, and then put it in the same place over here. So now it is mostly following the hand, and you can spend time cleaning it up if you'd like. And that will be our action. And I'll add a frame on 50 to make it the same length as the step action. So I believe this should be everything that we need. So I can save this as platform step and then export. And you'll actually notice that you get two FBX files this time, an animation file and a furniture file. So now if we go into Studio, we can start by deriving off of a furniture product. We can import the furniture. So we see we have both meshes. It'll show 4 animations, but it will only bring in the 2. And we'll have our furniture. Now we can bring in the animation. And this one we can see has anim step. And it will mess up the skeleton of the furniture. So we'll want to go to skeleton here and set this to root node underscore root. Goes back. Now we will have 3 actions in total. The first one will be stance.idle with a lowercase s and a capital I. This one is the idle position of the furniture. So we can add an ensemble and we'll use the bar armature, bar idle. That should be frames 1 and 2, and it will infinitely loop. Now we can make stance dot step, step being whatever we named the seat, and I used a capital S in Blender, and then dash seat 01, seat 01 being the number of the seat from Blender. So here we can see seat 01. So now this one will be the step, and it'll always do an animation from 1 to the end frame. So in order to keep this from jumping back to the idle, because when an animation ends, it'll default to the idle, we can set this to the last frame, and I think loop forever also. And then the last action will be stance dot step. So the one that doesn't have the dash seat 01 is for the avatar. So this will be anim dash step. All right. And now if I stand on this seat, I should do the action that we saw in Blender and hold the bar. And there we go. I may have to adjust the position and everything to make it all line up correctly, but there is the action. If I go off of the seat, this goes back to its idle position. So yeah. Yeah. I'm sure if I went to the I'll look. Let's see. In use. These aren't all in use. This one. Yeah, there we go. Now it's in the same place that we saw in Blender.
Cool, cool stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cameron.
You make it look so easy.
Were there any questions that I missed while I was looking here?
Yet,
Not yet, no.
folks who are attending, feel free. We encourage you to ask questions using the Q&A feature in Zoom. It's just one of the options in your little panel there. And we're happy to answer any questions you have about what Mighty 7 just showed us.
Yeah, and a couple of things about this. He showed you 3 things basically: the prop or the furniture animation. So you could make if you're just doing the furniture animation, you don't need to do the avatar part. Or if you just want to do an avatar animation, the same technique would be used to create like a seat node that has the avatar take a pose or do some kind of animation. And it would go through the same export process. But you could do all three of those, or as Cameron showed you, you can combine them and make a prop action. The other thing I mentioned too is we are working. I'm actually working on it right now. We're working on getting the 3D Studio Max version of this toolkit working so that it'll support doing prop actions and avatar animations as well. So that's in the works. Yes, we will be getting that out soon, I hope. Within the next week, I hope. Hopefully next week.
And did we want to mention the our potential next learning session?
Yeah, we want to do.
Briggs, that's up to you if you want to announce that.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Riggs, if you wanted to mention that.
Oh, I'm sorry. So we're going to do a separate learning session focusing on the same type of actions, but using 3ds Max, and
Yeah.
Miyaka's Creations is going to lead that one. So stay tuned for that one. It's coming soon.
Great.
Mm-hmm. And Miyaka's Creations will be our guinea pig. See, make sure it works.
Yeah. Exactly. So we have a few questions in our Q&A. Thank you for posting those, folks. Keep them coming. And meanwhile, I think we're going to move on to Tauntaun Tonic, showing us some very exciting features in IMVU Studio, which you may not be aware of.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm going to go ahead and answer these questions just while Tauntaun's going.
Okay, that's great. And then at the
Cameron
end,
and I will.
we can for ones that we haven't addressed, we can talk about it at the end.
Kind of follow up live with the rest of the questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen then. I thought that as Drosselmeyer and I have been answering a lot of questions in the discussion forums about various features that have been being released over the last year. Sometimes some of the little features and improvements get overlooked. So I thought I'd go through some of the maybe some of the overlooked features, and then also share with you some upcoming features that aren't necessarily in Studio yet, but we'll be releasing very soon, and we're really excited about a couple of those. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And let's see. And can everyone see my screen okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I have an avatar in a room here. I'm going to go down a list of completely probably disjointed features. And I'll start with the one at the top of the list, which is the new manual camera controls. And we originally added the manual camera controls for creators that had really much older computers where the trackpad just doesn't work quite right on older computers. They're definitely not as smooth as more modern computers, but just gives you a way to move around with these quick keys and get kind of exactly the right position that you want. You can left click any of these directions. You can drag around any of the directions, and it kind of works like a little virtual trackball. And then you can zoom in and out. Now, with the directional controls, if you right click, that puts you into panning, and you can pan left and right and up and down. But if you notice, it says AWSD on the trackpad, and so you can actually use your keyboard controls as well to move around. And this is really nice when you're taking videos, if you want to get like some smooth tracking shots. And then zoom is the plus and minus keys on the computer. And then you can also use those keys at the same time. So if I rotate around my avatar and zoom in, you can actually get some really nice cinematic shots. if you're making videos for Instagram or something. Whoa, got a little bit out of sync there. And then the last thing with manual camera controls that you might not know is in the preferences, you can actually set how fast you want the rotation, zoom, and pan speed to be. So you can set those up to your preference. And then you can also completely turn the control widget on or off if you want to kind of get it out of the way. So that's manual camera controls. We added that a little while ago. The second thing that we sort of secretly added, because we were having a lot of problems with it at first, but it seems to be working a lot nicer now. We never really made an official announcement about it, but a lot of creators found it, and that is the highlight selection. This will highlight any part of the geometry that you select in the component panel. So if I'm in material mode and I'm in a room that has a lot of materials in it, if I select that material, it'll highlight the part of the material that belongs to it. So especially if you're deriving off of a product and you're trying to figure out what goes with what, it's a really quick and easy way to figure that out. And for the most part, it works in the other direction as well. So, but it's a little more buggy in the other direction. So if I actually select this bush here, yeah, it should actually highlight the material component that it belongs to. Sometimes that works better than other times, especially if you have a lot of composited layers on top of each other. It gets a little more confusing. But definitely material to 3D component works great. And that's highlight selection. The next helper that we added is a particle helper. And I'm going to go to, where's the shoes? Yeah, so I have a shoes product here that has a really nice particle system on it. And the way that I was able to get this particle system to affect only around the shoe, I don't think I could have done it without having this particle helper, the particle helpers turned on. And it basically just gives you the origin and the size of the origin, and then the direction of gravity that your particle system is pointed in. So as you move the position and the size around, like just as an example, if I were to move the position up here. Oh. There we go. Oh, there it is. Notice that the position of the particle system actually moved, and so you can fine tune where you want your particle systems to be affected. So that's the particle system helper. I'm going to turn that off as well. The third feature that we added that we're really excited about is high DPI rendering, and we added this both in web, desktop, and IMVU Studio. If you go into your preferences, you'll notice that there are a couple new settings. One of them is anti-aliasing, high DPI anti-aliasing that you can turn on and off. And then the other one is the render scale. Balanced 1.0 is the pixel density that the products had previously been in, and you can actually increase the quality to 1.5 or 2.0, which gives you really, if you turn that on with high DPI rendering, if you have a decently fast computer, it will, go here. It will give you really smooth edges and lines. Without having to go into your graphics card settings. This is all in product. And then there are some quick keys here as well. They're not advertised yet, at least, but at least on the Mac, I forget what it is for Windows, but on the Mac, if you hold down Control, Option, and then the number 1, 2, 3, or 4, you can actually switch between the 4 different quality levels of high DPI rendering. I don't know if you can see that changing, especially on the hair. That's the highest setting. And if you have a really slow computer and you just want a very fast frame rate, you can switch all the way down to the lowest setting. It doesn't look very good, but it'll give you 60 frames per second. And that's a really nice and easy way to switch between the 4 modes. The next feature that we added a couple months ago is convex reflections, and it's a material rendering feature. If you notice on these glasses, it's actually reflecting the environment. This only works on clothing items, but you can get a really, really nice effect. You have to have a shininess map, and then if you go down here and turn on convex reflections, and then you have an intensity. So you can make the reflection either very subtle or very, very prominent. But it works wonders for certain products that you want to have just a subtle reflection on, or a really large reflection like in these glasses. The next feature I wanted to show you, and I might need to reset this real quick. Let me go ahead and do that. I need to grab this room again. If you'll give me just 1 minute. Oh, no, that's not the one. Oh, here it is. Okay, we didn't lose it. Sorry about that. So if you're working on room products, you'll notice that there is a new setting called local ambient. If you're creating a new room product, local ambient will always be on. And what local ambient does, and I'm going to turn it off because this is how ambient light in the classic client and in previous rooms on Studio and desktop used to work. Let me go ahead and preview that. Notice my ambient light is sort of a dark blue color, and everything in the room will in the old system will get that ambient light. And if you notice, my avatar has that blue ambient light as well. And it doesn't matter where I place my avatar, even if everything around the avatar is a different color, my avatar always gets that blue light. Well, with the new local ambient feature, now any avatar in the room will actually take on some of the lighting characteristics that surround it. So as I turn this on, and you'll see it happen sort of in real time, notice that the avatar now actually pulls in some of the colors from around the room. So if you have avatars in your room and they're moving around from a section of the room to a different section of the room that happens to be different colors, the avatar will always take on those colors, and it really seats the avatar in the room and adds quite a bit of realism. I'm using just a kind of a plain shiny white avatar just so you can really see the subtle effects. But as I move from the blue sections of the room to the yellow sections of the room, notice the avatar's taking on those different colors. And so you get this for free. This is the way that rooms work all across mobile and desktop and in Studio, unless you have a special case where you specifically want the avatar to always have or to always take on the ambient light. You can turn it off for your room product, but for all other cases, I would suggest or recommend leaving it on. So that's local ambient lighting. We were really excited about that when we came out with it. The next feature I wanted to share, let's see where, let me open up the autumn room again. Just because it has a lot of materials here. This is a big room. There we go. Yeah, the next feature I wanted to share with everyone are just some quick keys that might help, especially if you're working on a lot of materials and you're changing settings really quickly. Remember that you can use command, if you hold down the command key and you click on the J and K keys, that actually automatically moves you up and down the material list. So I can very quickly move up and down the material list with command JK, and then option JK will actually move you up and down the component list. So I can move very quickly from material to mesh component, skeleton component, action, particles. Right, so command JK to move up and down the material list, and option JK to move up and down the component list. And then to get a list of all of the quick keys, you can go to keyboard shortcuts right here, and there's a lot more to choose from. Once you learn these, it becomes really quick to move around in IMVU Studio. So don't forget about checking out the keyboard shortcuts. We added a couple of things to our inventory panel, just as a reminder. So if I'm working on, let's say, this shoe product here, and I decide that I want to work on my shoe product, with a different room in the background. For instance, maybe I like working on my shoes in this loft, or if you have a specific room that you always like to work on your products in. When I load this room in, and when I save my draft shoes, when I open up that draft, it will always open up with this room moving forward. So it's that didn't used to be the case, but it was a highly sought after feature, and so we decided to add it for folks. So if I save this and then close this down and open it up again, it will open up my draft. Let's see, yeah, there it is. When I open this up again, it'll always load with that room product. Now for new draft products that you work on, there's a preference. If you go into the preferences, default room. So if you set this room, you can set any room that you own. You can select, and then any new draft project that you start up will start up with that particular default room, and you can get to that through this panel right here. And then the last thing we added to the inventory panel, if you go into your filters here, this little filter button right here allows you to filter your search for all of your owned products. If you want to add things to rooms, or if you want to try on clothing while you're working on a certain product, is now you can search by creator. So if you have a lot of products from a particular creator, or if you want to only search for your own products, like I just did right here, you can do that and filter your products right here. So now for the exciting stuff, there's a couple new features that are coming soon that I wanted to show everyone. And in order to do that, I am going to close down IMVU Studio. And I am going to open up our developer version of IMVU Studio. So these are items that you're not going to see on IMVU Studio yet, but they are coming soon in the next release, or possibly the release after. So I'm going to open up my my Autumn portal room again as my main example. And for the first new feature that we're adding, if I'm not sure how many of you have checked out the new room deco Room Decoration 2.0 on IMVU Desktop, but everyone's been talking about it. It's a great new room decoration system, and I would encourage everyone to try it out. Rachel's going to add a link to this tutorial, and it's a way to do creation even if you're not a creator. All you need to do is have a bunch of room products and you can decorate your own room. And doing it in Room Decoration 2.0 is much easier. We have a lot of really specific tools to allow you to decorate your rooms very quickly. And the reason I mention this is all of the Room Decoration 2 features are now coming into IMVU Studio. So if I go into decoration mode, right now, the product I'm editing is this room. If you notice, let's just add a product here, maybe a tree. If you notice, there's all of this new functionality over on the right hand side, and I won't get into all of it now. That's all in the tutorial, but it will really easily allow you, especially with quick keys. Let me select this real quick. There we go. Similar to 3D software, we connected the W, the E, and the R keys to very quickly move between rotation and position.
Industry standard.
Yeah, somewhat industry standard. I mean, it's drifting a little bit, right? Because everyone kind of has their own way of doing it. But it makes it really easy to kind of switch between these three modes. And there's going to be quick keys in Room Deco for all of this functionality. You can reset your products. You can duplicate products really easily. You can copy the transform characteristics of all of your of a specific item to different items, and then you can also like replace furniture with a different piece of furniture. Just as an example, I'll do that right now. If I click on replace furniture and I want to replace this tree with all of its transforms and replace it with something else, maybe like the chair, I just click on this right here and it replaces it with the chair. Really nice if you're creating a bunch of different trees of different sizes and you have them rotated in a certain way, but it's like, I want to replace some of those trees with other trees. You can easily do that without having to start over again. So without getting into it too much, please go check out the demo and please go check out Room Decoration 2 in IMVU Desktop. Let's see, the last sort of coming soon feature that I'd like to show everyone. And I think it's already set up on this room here. If I go into my environment settings, now remember this is not available yet, but it's coming soon. This is just an alpha right now, and we're just starting to try it out. But it's a way to add a global color gradient to your room. So I'm going to press a little plus here. This basically defines what the natural color gradient of the room is. All the colors that you see here are defined by the fog and the natural colors that are in the materials. But I can actually go ahead and add another color gradient. And this is a color gradient that I've made in Photoshop. Let's see, I think it's on the desktop.
This is going to be so cool.
And so notice that this color gradient is different. The way I created this color gradient is I just took a screenshot of my room. I went into Photoshop. I adjusted it so that it looked like nighttime. I saved the adjustments that I made, and then I applied those same adjustments to this texture map, and then loaded this texture map into IMVU Studio. And when I press play, it actually, oh wait, I gotta press preview first. Make sure that it all gets updated. And when I press play, it actually applies all of those color gradient settings to my room. It doesn't destroy any of the materials or anything like that. It's you know, you can think of it as applying a filter like you do on pictures, you know, from your phone. But it does it globally to everything on the map. So you can make really amazing. We're going to be able to make really amazing effects like changing day to night, and we're also going to allow you to attach, you know, what we call like a color gradient asset to an action. So you can create triggers. Like I can have the night trigger, and anytime someone clicks on types in night, it'll basically change the whole room to a nighttime. And then the last thing that I'll just mention, and maybe this is a promo for our next Twitch stream event, is we are starting to play around with allowing creators eventually to write their own scripts in Lua to make interactivity in rooms. And color gradients is going to be one way that you'll be able to you know, write scripts and create much more complex interactivity. I would encourage everyone over the next week, because I think we're going to be taking it down after that, to go to, let me show everyone real quick. If you go to live rooms, we currently have it pinned to the top. We have since October, since the last week of October for Halloween. Go check out the sneak peek autumn room. I'm not going to go into it right now, but we have a bunch of different portal doors in there. When you go through the doors, it takes you to different rooms, and we have examples of what interactive scripting is going to be able to do, and eventually what we're going to open up to the creator community. Different little games and fortune telling rooms and different things that you'll be able to create. We want creators to create interactive experiences in the rooms, and we're trying to take things to the next level. So I will leave it at that, and I'm going to hand things back over to Riggs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
That was very exciting.
Yeah, that was great.
Hey. So we have a few questions in here that have not been answered. I don't know if the team wants to tackle these now, or if we want to answer those when the article goes out. Yes, which reminds me, a recording of this session along with an accompanying article will be posted in the next month, because you know we've got to prepare it and stuff like that, in our Creator Education Center, and I'll put that in chat again, that link in chat again, so you can find it.
Here's a question actually from Rana LELD, asking if there will be tutorials for interactive rooms for creators, or is it an advanced thing? Yes, it is an advanced thing, but if we're talking about the sneak peek room, we will be doing some kind of tutorials once that's yeah. So we will be doing tutorials on those once that is fully developed. It's going to take a little while because it's still very preliminary.
Yeah, currently we're experimenting with scripts and using the Lua scripting language. We're doing some internal interactive rooms right now, starting to kind of solidify the tech. I don't have a date when we will start opening it up to like our alpha or beta tester community to start messing around with it. But I'm hoping first half of next year.
Yeah, and Carmen asks, so making sort of interface similar to what Flash used to do, such as portals and to other rooms. Yes, that's exactly right. In fact, if you go to that sneak peek room, there are a bunch of portals so you go through a door and it'll like launch you into another room. So we've got that working. This looks like Rana's asking, can we make them with the IMVU creator tools or out of sight? I'm assuming like you're asking like making them with like a third-party tool of some sort. Right now, it's all done within the desktop app. There's a scripting interface that we're working on, and it only works on the next platform. Yes, it is Lua script. Mm-hmm. It's Lua, but Lua within desktop.
I'll grab a question. Can the preview button be faster? I'll take that. I'll take that one. I'll take that one on the chin. There is a feature that we might be releasing, maybe even in 2 or 3 weeks. We've had it released to the alpha, to our alpha tester community for a little while, and we've been trying to work out all the bugs. But we do have like an optimized preview mode that will only, technically what it does is it's only uploading and downloading the things that you've changed within a scene. So if you're working on a really, really big room, the first load of the room is, takes a long time. It takes it's going to take as long as it's going to take. But as you're editing and previewing that room, we're hoping to get those times way down. We're aware that it's it's a significant issue, especially for people that create rooms.
Yeah, let's see. Cynthia has a question. She said she saw a hairstyle that actually blew around like it caught the wind, and asking how did a creator make that happen. I don't know for certain, but my guess would be that that's probably a morph animation. The only way I'm aware of to do clothing products that animate is using a morph animation. So you actually like make duplicate copies of the product and then manipulate the vertices to get them into different positions and make them look like they're moving. Let's see what else. Lots of questions. Oh boy. They animated the hair. Yeah. Carmen mentioned the animated hair. Yeah, as far as I know, that's the only way to animate hair. Let's see. I'm looking around questions here. Oh, there was a question that was in the mark to be answered live. It says, not quite sure. Lisa's asking, was it considered to have height scales to potentially actually scale used in real life to be more realistic? So I'm guessing she's asking about having scales like some kind of height measurement so you can get an idea of how big things are. I think the best way that I've done to approach this is like in rooms, as I bring in using the toolkit, I'll just create a copy, I'll like launch the clothing tool or something like that and get the avatar in there. And that avatar is actually scaled 1-to-1 with what the avatar size is in IMVU. And so you can use that as a height reference for things you could build around. We're trying to move everything in our development pipeline to be 1-to-1, so you don't have to do the crazy scale down to 0.01% to get things into the right scale. So if you build your rooms around the avatar that you'd use for the toolkit, you should be able to get a good scale that way.
There's a question that came up from Gilbert. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Wondering if we can show couple poses. I'm assuming that means like cooperative actions. I know we're not doing that today, but I thought I'd just put it out to the group if it's a learning session we can do in the future.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, somebody was asking about, again, about, will we be uploading this video? Yes, absolutely, we will be doing that. We put all the learning session videos on our Creator Education Center page. There's a learning sessions section there.
I put a link in our chat section that shows where the learning sessions are posted, and it should come out like in the next, within a month. We just got to edit it a bit and stuff like that and add it to an article. So it will be available.
Let's see here. Yeah, that might be a good one to include in the next one we do, if we have, if we can work it in time wise. Yeah, I'm thinking too, because there's another thing called cooperative actions, which I think when I asked about this, that was an IMVU only thing, so that if you have two avatars, so that they do things together on the picture catcher nodes. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah. I think for now it's just furniture, because if I remember correctly, when I asked our engineers about that cooperative animations themselves had to be set up in-house for some reason. But I haven't pursued it, so I don't know the details of why that is. Let's see. Through here. Anybody else see anything?
Yeah, I could talk to Meg Jones. Actually asked, are there still tester slots open? We do have a small alpha tester community, and sometimes features that we don't quite have all of the user interface worked out yet, and we just kind of want to put it out there and let people hammer on it and see what breaks and what doesn't. We'll send it out to our alpha tester community. We're always open to people wanting to volunteer to become alpha testers. And Riggs, I don't know if there's I forget what our standard email is.
It's either studio@imview.com or studiobeta@imview.com. And you would just say that you wanted to join the alpha tester program.
Yeah. I think people can use studio@imview.com, and we can filter through them. We're always looking for new alpha testers that are willing to be active and engaged in the discussion forum.
There's another one from an anonymous attendee that asking if you have the Classic client, but download Next, will it get rid of Classic? No, absolutely not. You can run both of them at the same time. I do quite often, actually. So they operate completely separate from one another.
Let's see, perusing all of the open questions. There's lots to choose from here.
Yeah, and if we don't get to answering any of these during the session, we will go through and answer all these, and they'll be included with the answers that we post with the article of this session that has the video of the session as well. Yeah, Yeah, in order to edit a product that has derivations, yeah, that's my understanding too. But in regards to Flash,
Of course, that's classic only.
yeah. Flash is a classic only feature. So yeah, the scripting system that we're developing is really, I think it's going to be really cool and probably open up a lot of that kind of functionality and features that was available through Flash and Classic Client. I'm excited. I want to start playing with it. I haven't had a chance to do that yet.
Yeah, I feel like it's adding a whole new layer of engagement and having fun and activities in IMVU. It'll be cool. Any more questions that we can answer?
How much time do we have left? We have a couple minutes left.
Let's see, I can answer this question about what is an alpha tester. So we have an alpha tester group where it's a small group of creators who get access to testing up and coming products or very new products for creators before the general creator community sees them. And it's kind of like your job to try them out and give us feedback so we can make them better before launching, or if we've just launched it, make it better for the IMVU community. And if you're interested in applying to be an alpha tester, you just email studio@imvu.com and then we can look into adding you.
Hey, I can grab this one question from an anonymous attendee. Can you explain subsurface shading a bit?
Yeah, I was looking at that too.
Yeah. We subsurface shading actually does work, but currently in IMVU Studio, it is so subtle that you can't really notice it unless you have a room that's lit very dark and you have, like, a spotlight or something shining behind it. Essentially, what subsurface shading is it kind of like bounces light off of the I don't know, Greg, maybe you can explain it a little bit better.
Well, it's in our rendering system, it's trying to simulate what it would look like if you had light passing through an object, like a leaf,
or
skin, exactly. Like you get some of that scattering of the light through a translucent surface.
Yeah.
And I say it's an approximation because all the features that we have are kind of approximations of how these things work in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I noticed about it when I tried to play around with it is just, like you said, it's just not very strong.
Right. We've been talking about, I was actually talking with our engineers about, like, hey, let's revive subsurface shading and just add an intensity. Like we do with the other advanced features, like iridescence and convex reflections, and have that intensity knob, and then at least maybe you can kind of really blast it out and really see the difference. We might get to that. In the meantime, don't probably try to get anything meaningful out of subsurface shading.
Yeah.
Until we come back to it. But that's a great question, because we never because we kept the knobs there. So I understand that there was a question about it.
Somebody was asking about escape rooms, and that sounded like maybe they were reading your minds.
Oh, right. Yeah, anonymous attendee. Not a question, but I've always thought about the idea of an escape room within IMVU. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Great idea. We talk about escape rooms in water cooler conversations at the office all the time, and that would probably be a little ways down, a little more advanced than some of the initial experiences we'll be able to create, because of course you can't walk around in IMVU. It is a node-based system, and so escape rooms would have to be kind of very particular. work, a particular flow in order to make that work. But totally possible.
But a simple question answer kind of escape room might work just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, we are at the top of the hour, so I think it is time for us to say goodbye for now, but we will be back. I want to thank everybody, all you folks who attended this learning session. Thank you so much for your wonderful questions and for your enthusiasm about learning about IMVU Studio. And thank you so much, Mighty Seven and Tauntaun and Drosselmeyer and Miyaka for answering questions and demoing and showing us all these really cool new features. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, depending where you are. And we will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us, Miyaka.
Yeah, thank you, Miyaka.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Recording.
All right, turn my mic on here. Hold on a second. All right, that was fun. It's dark out now. I turn my light on. So obviously, as you guys have noticed, I did not actually do any demoing this particular. Well, hello. Yes, thank you. I'm sorry. I saw you played with Randy, but he keeps disappearing, so I should probably get rid of that stuff, and it's ticking me off. There, he's back again. I don't understand why it keeps disappearing. Poor Randy. So I'm gonna be off for about an hour, and then I'm gonna come back on, and we're gonna work on the dog that we started last week. But yeah, that was fun. And then I'll get this recording up on YouTube later this week. So, but thanks for hanging out and watching the Zoom session. I'll hopefully, if they get the toolkit up and running for 3D Studio Max, I'll actually be doing the demoing instead of Cameron. So that was cool. But I will see you guys again in about an hour.